Welcome to Keto Meals and Recipes.com. Today I'm going to make a very comforting and delicious pumpkin curry soup. This soup has a wonderful blend of aromatic spices and includes hearty vegetables, creating a very satisfying flavor and mouthfeel. If you love pumpkin or butternut squash, you will love this curry soup version. So I hope you give it a try. We really like this pumpkin curry soup because it's very filling and it's very easy to make it into a full meal. All you have to do is serve it with a hearty bread like my walnut bread, which goes perfectly, by the way, with the pumpkin. Another reason that I think you might really like this soup, it only takes about 30 minutes to make. The reason this soup is especially quick to make is because I use a couple little shortcuts, which I will share and explain later on in the video, so please keep watching. For your information, the macronutrient ratio for the pumpkin curry soup is 2.5 to 1, with 11.8 grams of total carbs, 3.3 grams of soluble fiber, 1 gram of insoluble fiber, resulting in 7.5 grams of net carbs per generous bowl. Here are most of my ingredients I'll be using in this recipe. Now let's get started. Begin by placing a soup pot onto your stove top, which you've set the heat to medium. Now drop in the unsalted butter, and when the butter has melted, drop in your sliced cremini or white button mushrooms. I prefer the cremini actually. And then keep cooking and saute the mushroom to a light golden brown. As you're cooking, you'll notice that the mushrooms act like little sponges and absorbed all the butter, which adds to the good macros for this recipe. When done, scoop out the mushrooms, transfer them to a bowl, and set them aside for a moment. Now, to the same pot, add 1 tablespoon of either avocado or olive oil. And when the oil is sizzling, drop in your chopped onions. And saute the onions to a translucent stage. At which point, get the mushrooms you set aside earlier and put them back into the soup pot, and then toss well to combine. It's now time to pour in the chicken bone broth. The first shortcut is you could use either store-bought vegetable or chicken stock, but if you have time, the best thing is to make my chicken bone broth and Italian soup recipe. Links are in the description box, because this soup is really tasty, is collagen rich, and adds a lot of extra richness and taste to the final pumpkin soup. And you'll notice that in most of my soup recipes, I do use this particular chicken bone broth as an ingredient. And at this point, add the pumpkin puree. This is a second shortcut. I have found that buying a can of 100% pumpkin only works really well in most of these kinds of recipes. By using a canned pumpkin, which is a shortcut, rather than roasting and pureeing your own raw pumpkin or butternut squash, it saves you a lot of time. And quite frankly, I didn't really taste the difference when I made everything from scratch. Now it's time to add your coconut cream, so give it a good shake and pour it into the pot, and then stir well to combine. We haven't added any of our seasoning, so let's do that. It doesn't matter which order you add the seasoning. I begin with the curry powder, the garam masala, and the granulated sweetener, my finely ground salt. Now I'm going to add the white pepper. I think this is the best flavor, but if you don't have white pepper, you can substitute with black pepper. And lastly, I'm going to add the ground nutmeg. For an absolutely amazing burst of flavor, please grind your nutmeg just before you're about to add it. It really makes a huge difference. Now that I've added all the seasonings, stir to combine the seasonings into a soup, and then let the soup come to a light boil and continue cooking for 5 minutes so that the spices can flavor the soup. After the 5 minutes, I'm going to sprinkle in my glucomannan and stir it in immediately. If you're not familiar with glucomannan or konjac root fiber, glucomannan thickens without leaving a slimy texture. Cook until the broth is starting to thicken, which should take a couple minutes. With the glucomannan, the soup will continue thickening a little bit as the soup cools. So get your pot and pour the soup into a soup serving dish. And if you like, you can garnish with a sprinkle of chopped chives. And if you're wondering how to store this pumpkin curry soup, first let the soup cool to room temperature and transfer the soup to an airtight container and put it into the fridge where it will keep for several days. Another great thing about this pumpkin curry soup is that it can be frozen, again in an airtight container, and you can keep it in the freezer for 2 to 3 months. This pumpkin curry soup is a nice alternative to the classic American pumpkin soup, and you can serve it any time of the year because we used canned pumpkin, but it's especially wonderful at occasions such as Thanksgiving and Christmas. I hope you'll give this soup a try. Please let me know if you do and what you think of this recipe. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch my video. Until next time, I hope you have a happy and healthy day. Cheers!